Everybody knows babies need to be fed to grow strong, but they also need help to build their brains too. Brains have billions of cells and are not fully developed when they are born. Through time, these cells join up, creating patterns that allow the baby to understand who they are, who you are, and where they are. Adults need to talk and play with their baby to make this happen. One of the best ways to bond with your child and help them grow at the same time is through breastfeeding, which in turn also has several benefits for mums as well. Breastfeeding has benefited mum Ashley and all her children. Today she is meeting with friend Sarah to have a wee chat about the realities of breastfeeding. But how much do teenagers know about breastfeeding?
To be honest, I don't really know an awful lot about breastfeeding, just not a lot at all.
Don't really know much about it.
Nothing. Nada.
I'd say I'd know a little bit more than your average Joe, but because my mum's a midwife, but I wouldn't say I know too much because I don't pay too much attention to her.
For health benefits, breastfeeding was good for bonding with baby. I definitely found it helped me to bond with my girls, whereas the boys were bottle fed and they ended up with colic and they were sick a lot, and it was just a horrible experience when I think back.
For me, I just think it's a lot more convenient. I can do it whenever I want. I can do it on the go. And you just come with me everywhere, don't you? Yes, you do, yeah. But also, none of my children have ever been on antibiotics, or, I mean, they've had the odd sniffle, of course they have, but they've generally been really well, and they've never really had any time off school.
Breastfeeding reduces the risk of obesity, diabetes, chest infections, tummy infections, ear and urine infections. Breastfeeding reduces the risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, osteoporosis in later life, and also helps mum to lose weight. Some mums even donate their breast milk to help the babies of others.
I started expressing my milk when my daughter was about 8 weeks old. You can express between your baby is 8 weeks old and 9 months. So they take the milk from anywhere in between then. So a guy came up today and drove all the way from Glasgow, and he'll take that down the road and they'll pasteurise the milk down there, and then they'll distribute the milk out around Scotland to all the babies that need it. So for instance, really, really sick babies that maybe can't stomach formula milk, or really premature babies. So babies that are really born before the sort of 30-week mark, so tiny, teeny, weeny babies. Their stomachs cannot tolerate formula milk, but sometimes if a baby's born really early, mum might struggle to actually give the baby their own milk, so we do rely on donations from the milk bank to help those wee babies grow.
Formula milk is an alternative to breast milk. Formula milk is processed, powdered cow's milk, which has been treated to provide the basic nutritional needs for a baby.
Okay, so the four of us have been put into two groups. This group is for breastfeeding, and the other group is for formula feeding. So we're going to see how much they cost for a week.
Powdered milk is not sterile, and each bottle should be made fresh each time, even at night and when you're out and about. To make up a feed ensuring that it is made up sterile relies on a lot of equipment, such as sterilisers, kettles, bottles, etc. But how much do you need? And how much does it cost?
Do we really need all of this for formula feeding?
Yes, most of it you do need for formula feeding. The only thing that you possibly wouldn't need would be the prep machine. Is there a reason you want the prep machine?
Well, we thought prep machine would be a lot more convenient because it says on the box it's much faster than a kettle.
Yeah, it is much faster, but there's no real reason for having it. It would be sort of a luxury item as such.
Do
do we need all this for when we're breastfeeding, or is there things that we wouldn't necessarily need to have?
Okay, so there's certain items that I would say are probably essential to get you started in sort of the first week. What I would probably keep is the breast pads, because when you first have a baby, mum will have quite a lot of milk and there's sometimes quite a lot of leakage, so they are really, really handy to have those ones. Really, you could get away in the first week with just these 3 items.
Okay, perfect. Okay, can we just possibly just get these in?
Yeah, just take these and I'll take these off your total.
Okay,
just one moment.
perfect, thanks.
Yeah, so that brings your total down to £36.79.
Oh wow.
Well, I fed my 2 boys by bottle and then the 2 girls by breast, and definitely the boys, it was very expensive. It's about just under £10 for 1 tub of formula, and with a newborn that will only last maybe 2-3 days, about 3 days. Not only that, but constant nappies, because there's so much gunk in formula that when they're digesting it, there's so much that they can't digest, and it's almost like gloop in their nappy. It's so different, the stools between the breastfed and bottle.
Obviously, it's well known that these companies make billions of pounds in profit. So I mean, like, I know that you've got your follow-on milks and things like that, which actually babies don't really need.
No.
No, it's just like the first stage up until they're about a year old, and after that, you can go on cow's milk. But you know, a lot of people get into it that their babies need all this, and they put in lots of different chemicals.
It's easier because you can just breastfeed wherever you go. You don't have to worry about preparing bottles and mixing formulas on the go. You can just, you know, I've fed in car parks and many different places when you're on the hop. And
But on a price range, it is a lot cheaper. So I keep telling my husband that I've saved him hundreds of pounds.
yeah.
From a dad's point of view, you know, although I can't feed her, there is other things you can do. You know, there's a lot of, if your partner's feeding, then you have to do the other jobs, which they're, you know, if they're busy feeding, you have to make the dinner, or you might have to look after the other children. You also have to make sure to get a bit of time just yourselves together, so you can actually bond.
Since 2005, it is against the law for an individual to prevent a mum from breastfeeding in public, meaning mums no longer need to hide in the dark. But how does the public feel?
Some of the myths you hear, like obviously your boobs will sag, and I mean, I breastfed my daughter for the first week, and I don't think, you might disagree, but when I did try and feed my daughter, I felt really uncomfortable. Some places we would go into like mother care and go into the actual feeding rooms because I just felt uncomfortable to do it.
Well, when I had my first baby, I just found the first few weeks it was quite difficult getting going, so I wouldn't have felt comfortable really knowing how to do it, and I had to go around with sort of pillows and things like that, but I quickly got the hang of it, and the second time around it was no issue. You can do it discreetly.
I breastfed my kids 26 years ago in public, and at that time it was quite a shock. People didn't really expect you to do it if you were out, but it's natural and it's best for the child, I think. So yeah, if you can do it, do it.
I think more people on nights out on a Friday night show more skin than a mum breastfeeding.
I mean, that's what we need to change. We need to change people's attitudes. We need to think, well, or maybe it's just a woman feeding a baby. What is the big deal?
With all that said, has the attitude of the teenagers changed towards breastfeeding?
It's really not a thing that women should be embarrassed about. They should be allowed to do it in public. I'm more embarrassed walking into a shop and seeing porn magazines on the shelf rather than walking into a shop and seeing a woman breastfeeding.
I think it's important that this programme should be throughout schools, because I'm going into 6th year now. I don't know anything about it.
Like, I found out that like from like the mother's side, like reduces the chance of breast cancer, and like even from the baby, it can reduce like obesity, diabetes, and like general heart diseases.
If I was a parent, I'd rather spend that money that I would be spending on formula on something a bit nicer.
Like what?
Such as, I don't know, sports car.
breastfeeding in itself is very empowering. It's the one thing that you can do and nobody else can do, because you're protecting that baby, you're nourishing that baby, you're growing that baby. And yeah, okay, if it doesn't go to plan, there's lots of support out there.
The breastfeeding support groups, and there's so many, like most days there's something, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite a young mum when I was only 22 when I had my first. I wouldn't change it for the world. For me, it was that level of having that control that, yes, this is me. I'm mum, I'm doing this for me and my baby. Yeah.
That's lovely.